help you teach?
Well, it started when I was a student at Smith College in Northampton, Mass, and we were. I went. My first year at Smith was in 1938. I graduated in 1942, many years ago. And we were required to take an athletic course every semester. So of course I chose skiing for my winter activity, and it turned out I probably had the most amount of skiing background in the class, and it turned out that I ended up helping the professor who was the ski teacher. Well, Miss All, and she was wearing a little white badge. And I found out that this was a certification badge. It was one of the first certifications here in the United States this was back in 1938. And she was certified, she was, had taken a test and was a certified ski teacher. And I said, that's what I want to do when I graduate, and that's exactly what happened. Um, Another mentor that I had, and her name was Dot Hoyt, Hoyt. She was very well known in ski teaching circles, and she was on the Olympic team that never got to Europe because of the war back in 1940 or whenever it was. In any event, she had a white badge, and she developed something called the New York State technique. She was not happy with the with the Austrian influence that was coming to the States at that point in the teaching field, and she modified it and created what was called the New York State technique. Well, she was working. She ran the ski school up at North Creek, and I became part of that ski school. And took an examination from her and received the pin. So that was one of my first explorations into the professional field. Then in 1950, or I believe it was, I took the professional exam that was being sponsored basically by the Austrians. And you could declare whether you were taking your exam in the Swiss technique or the Austrian technique or the French technique. And I declared I was taking it in the New York State technique, and everybody raised their eyebrows. But I passed.
What was the main difference between the Dot's way of teaching and the Austrians' way of teaching?
A lot more relaxed. The Austrians were extremely stiff and extremely narrow-minded in what they promoted. And Dot had taken what at the time we referred to as the best out of the Austrian and the French technique and combined it so it was a little bit more relaxed, and I don't know, it was so long ago, I guess I can't really enumerate the differences.
Your first metal edge
Oh,
skis?
I remember very clearly about when metal edges came in. Again, my father was always in the forefront of technology, and so the next pair of skis he made me when I was probably in my late teens had metal edges. And this was very exciting, having the latest. And I can remember being, and I can't remember the name of the ski area where I was. It was someplace out a couple of hours away out in the western part of the state. In any event, it was not Snow Ridge.
Holiday Valley?
No, I think maybe it was Snow Ridge. Yes, it was. In any event, I was running a slalom course and got tripped up somehow or other and had a fall and didn't think too much about it. So picked myself up and went on, and later in the day I felt something warm on my leg, and I went into the lodge and discovered that the metal edge had come loose and had put a big gash in my leg, and the blood was there. So the ski patrol said, "Oh, you've got to get to a doctor." So they sent me off to a town where a doctor sewed my leg up, and it's still there. But that was the introduction to metal edges, and then came head skis. One of my friends, Chet Rice, had a pair of these new head skis, and he said, "Freddie, you've got to try them. It is just so easy to make turns with these." Well, fortunately, my foot fit into them, and I put the head skis on, and I remember screaming as I went down the hill, "It's just like power steering." Then there was Tuckerman's Ravine. There is a rock, and I forget what it's called, sort of halfway up the ravine, and it was very popular. Of course, people had to carry their skis up if they were climbing up. And I was also very interested in taking pictures. So I had my camera hanging around my neck, and I'm carrying my skis. And I am probably close to the head of a line of, I don't know, maybe 20 people behind me, all climbing in the same pattern. And I looked out and I said, "Oh, isn't that a beautiful shot?" So I can remember it was so steep that I literally had to put my elbow into the slope to try and position myself to turn around and take this shot out over the valley. Well, I lost my balance, and I started sliding on my back. Lost my skis, trying to hold the camera up in the air so it didn't get damaged. I'm sliding on my back, and I'm hitting every one of these people that are climbing up in the same path. "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to. Oh, I really am so sorry." And everybody was taken out the whole way down the slope. I often imagined what it would have been like to come over the head wall at that tremendous amount of speed and go down and make the curve into the woods, into the trail, and woo. I know I was never a racer. I was never a fast skier. I was more dedicated to form.